Hello there and welcome to this video tutorial series on how to use the Mini V, Arturia's emulation of the Mini Moog, and today we're talking about the oscillator bank. So let's make some sound. I'm hitting keys on the keyboard and we're not hearing any noise. It's because the Mini V has three separate oscillators, and here they are, and you need to actually turn them on to hear any sound, and that's done with these three little switches here. This is tied to oscillator 1. This one here is tied to oscillator 2, and this one to 3. So I've just turned oscillator 1 on. Okay. Now for now, ignore the filter sound. We want a nice sound. We want the keyboard to sound nice. So I've left a little bit of filtering on, but that's not what we're talking about today. We've just got oscillator 1 generating a pulse wave. You can see here it says wide rectangular, and the Mini Moog gives you two options. We have a wide rectangular wave over here and then a narrow rectangular wave. It's really just an inverted way of talking about the same thing. The thing I really want to show you though is how you change the width of the wave. It's a little bit odd. You have to right click. See, I'm hovering over the button here and it says width 0.29. If I right click and drag, that's how to change the width. A little bit confusing. So if I press a note on the keyboard now and then change the width, okay, and then obviously if I move this, I'm going to get different. There's the square. Let's go back to pulse. So this is an 8-foot sound. That's just basically the root of the fundamental, the lowest note that's played. Okay, and that's oscillator 1. Let's turn oscillator 2 on. We'll turn 1 off, turn 2 on. Okay, now we've got a lower note being played because we're at 16. And this is a square wave. And you can see here that we've got a little bit of fine control on the oscillator. See, it says 3.61%. Again, this is adjusted with your right mouse button. If you left click, you go up in semitones, but right click, you go up in smaller percentages. Now these small percentages give you a really nice mix of tones. If I turn oscillator 1 back on, which is always at 0, you don't have a fine tune control of oscillator 1. That's where you start, and then oscillators 2 and 3 vary from it. But now that we've got 1 and 2 on with a very little bit of difference between them, listen to this come in. It's becoming unpleasant at that point, but at very small numbers, you get it's a lovely thickening, rich enrichening of the sound. Let's turn this glide down a little bit. Now let's bring oscillator 3 in. So now we've got all three oscillators making sound. Let's hear 3 on its own. Okay, so this is making a triangle sound, triangle wave. And again, got a little bit of detune on the oscillator. It's just incredibly easy to make amazing, fantastic, thick sounds using this incredible VST. So we haven't got into any of the other effects yet. That's just the combination of 3 oscillators together making that lovely sound. Each of those oscillators has an independent volume control. So this is oscillators 1's volume control. We take them all away. Got no sound left. Bring them all back in. Mix to taste. And then finally, in addition to those 3 oscillators that are making sound, we have a 4th noise generator, and that's here. So if I turn that on, we've now got some air in the background. I'll turn all the other things off so you can. There are 2 different types of noise, white noise and pink. Pink noise is basically there's a little bit of tonal artifact in the sound. It's not completely random, so you get a little bit of coloration. That's kind of why it's called pink. So that's pink. And that's white. Subtle. Depends on which effect you're going for. It's a very basic introduction to the oscillators of the Mini Moog. Now then, in addition to being able to generate 3 independent tones, you can also link the oscillators together to get a deeper concentration on the first tone, the main tone that's generated by oscillator 1. Let's turn everything else off. This thing. But now that we're in sync mode, the other 2 oscillators aren't generating unique tones of their own. They're adding harmonics to the original oscillator. So if I turn 2 on now, if I change this semitone setting of oscillator 2, you're hearing harmonics that are being added to the first oscillator, but the fundamental pitch is the same. Okay, turn 2 off, turn 3 on. You're still getting, it's not actually generating an original tone on its own. It sounds like it is, but it's adding harmonics to the bass tone. So that's oscillator sync. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.